Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things. For more than 40 years, they have been putting fun squarely in the homes of East Tennesseans. Whether it's pool table, home theater seating, bar stools, pub tables, poker tables, games of every stripe. I was out there this week. They've even got a new game that's like a cross between cornhole and darts. And I wish I could think of the name of it because it's really cool. And people come in there in the game room and they wind up playing it. It's not that expensive. It's cool. They've always got great stuff. Get out and see them, see their game room at Games and Things out at Kingston Pike and Lovell Road. Tremendous place. Good people. Check them out. OurGameRoom.com if you can't make it to the showroom, but you want to see the showroom, trust me. All right, let's talk baseball. First of all, congrats to both of you. I know of two no nicer guys in town, and thank you very much, or congratulations very much on being able to follow what had to be a really fun season. Last year, it gets undone by COVID. This year, it's like, well, you don't know what to expect because you lost some guys. Just a heck of a year. So congratulations. You guys deserve it. Let me ask you about the guy that was behind it in terms of Tony Vitello. We said last week it's a 99% lock he's back. The Chucky C-Note Casino said it's 100% lock. That's usually the kiss of death, though. But it's still not announced. Any concerns that it's not announced yet, or is it just a matter of working out details?
I think it's all in the details because I think one thing that we've learned, Vince, in Tony Vitello's 4 years at Tennessee, he's very thorough. Yeah. He's got exactly what he wants. He knows exactly what he wants, but that also doesn't mean he's not unbending. It's just, I think, as he's talked about and talked with us last Monday, that this is part of a conversation where they've already had many agreements, and now it's kind of just ironing out these last few details. I don't think there should be one bit of concern.
Yeah, I totally agree. And he mentioned that he did have verbal agreements on some things, and he also mentioned that, look, some things they had to kind of kick the can down the road a little bit and put off because he didn't want those distractions during the season. So you totally understand those kind of things. And plus, there's so many complications with building commissions and things like that with what you want to do around Lindsey Nelson Stadium and in it, that part of it is more complicated. I think the contract, and Jimmy talked about it on Friday, that he thinks that's going to be in the 1.5-ish million, somewhere around there. So he's going to get paid a lot. I think the money part of it is done. What's in question, and maybe those details that John was talking about, was ironing out everything for the facility enhancements.
Yeah. John, why Vitello? And here's what I mean by that. Dave Serrano, I thought, made sense on a million levels. It didn't work out for him. Todd Raleigh obviously didn't work out for him. Rod Delmonico, it went up and down. And granted, Tony Vitello's been here 4 years, so it's not that we don't know the body of work in terms of Rod Delmonico's stay here. But what enabled Tony Vitello to make things work so quickly in the way that he has? What allowed the rebuild? Well, is it personality? Is it a connection with fans? Is it a connection with recruits? What is it about this guy? If you had to sum it up in one thing, what is it that is different about him?
I think he knew exactly what he needed from the outset. You look at Todd Raleigh, and when he was hired, he was making the adjustment from the Southern Conference to the Southeastern Conference. And he put together the greatest Southern Conference team that was ever assembled in his time in Knoxville. I mean, great kids, good ball players, but they weren't great SEC ball players. And then you also have what Dave Serrano brought from the West Coast. And I think where he came up short at the start was a lack of power in the batter's box and a sense of power on the mound. The best team, the very best team that he had assembled, and one that should have made the NCAA tournament, it wasn't offense, it wasn't pitching that cost him, it was defense at the very start of that season. When you look at all the draft picks that were on that particular team, it was defense that put them behind the 8 ball. In a 10-bid year, they were team 11. They should have made the NCAA tournament. They did not. So I do think that Tony Vitello didn't have to adjust anything. He knew he needed strong arms on the mound. Frank Anderson was his first hire. He knew he needed home runs in the batter's box. Quentin Eberhardt was his second big hire. And that's not to limit what Ross Kivett and Josh Elander have brought to the program. It's just that those two facets were the groundwork for this team and this program to start building. Frank Anderson with the pitchers, Quentin Eberhardt with everybody.
And as I recall, the number one choice, the first guy that John Curry went after was the head coach at South Alabama. Is that correct? Wasn't Vitello the fallback candidate, or am I wrong on that one? I thought Vitello was the fallback candidate, which the point being that sometimes the fallback candidate is the right candidate.
Right.
Because if you get a guy from another school outside the SEC, maybe he doesn't have that knowledge of the league that you're saying was so important for Vitello. Now, if I'm wrong about that, my apologies. Trust me, my memory is not what it used to be. But it does go to show that, a lot of people are like, well, he's not your first choice. Sometimes the second or third choice is the right one. But anyway, I think that's an interesting take. I don't know that is what I expected to hear, was his knowledge of the SEC enabled him to know exactly what he needed to do here. Very good. When we come back, let's talk about Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Vince mentioned it. We know that Tony Vitello wants changes there. What can you expect to see? What kind of changes are we talking about? I know there are a lot of fans out there who are like, well, make it 10,000 seats and that kind of stuff. That's not what's coming. Let's talk about what is coming. That's next on the Sports Source.